Hi trader, welcome to my weekly Forex video at Admiral Markets. My name is Chris and today's focus is going to be on those bullish candles that, in my view, confirm the bullish Forex market. But first of all though, please note that this video is shown to a global audience but may not be suitable for everyone. Please visit admiralmarketsglobal.com, select your country of residence and contact the appropriate entity to find out if it is suitable for you. Also please note that trading for exchange and global financial markets is considered high risk. Please seek the advice of an independent financial advisor for more information on that. This video is for informational and educational purposes only. By continuing watching this video, you agree with this disclaimer and you are aware of the risk involved when trading. Let's kick off with the euro-dollar weekly chart, and last week's candle was very bullish. As you can see here, I was looking for a bullish close near the high. That definitely happened because look, it was only off about 27 pips compared to almost a high and low difference of 270. So that's really a very strong close, just a few points off of that high. That's indicating that the bulls kept control throughout last week till the very end. And although price is approaching a resistance trend line and a strong resistance zone between 115 and 117, last week's candle, in my view, indicates that there's going to be a bullish continuation either this week or next week, probably. To the upside. I think that this week might see a bit of retracement of last week's candle. That's why I have a fib on last week's candle. And I think that typically price could retrace to the 23.6 or the 38, max 50, I would say. I would not expect much more than 50 personally. Doesn't even have to retrace to the 23.6 fib. Let's see, it's only a few pips away from that level though. And I would expect price to challenge 115. Once it gets to 115, it could be a resistance spot worth noting because it is a round level. There's that resistance zone, so that could be a bouncing spot. If price makes a light retracement by going sideways like this and breaks the flag, then of course it could go up to 117, 117.50. But I would expect personally some kind of response to that 115 level. So something like this, retracement, upside, retracement, upside, I think could be a pattern that we might see in the next few weeks, or let's say 2 weeks perhaps, rough guess. Regarding the path of least resistance, that's what I think is the most likely. Now regarding this particular pullback, you can see some confluence with the 38.2 fib. You can see first of all, of course, the uptrend on the euro dollar. Let me move the mini terminal a little bit to upside. You can see it's very useful for trading decisions. You can manage the trade a lot easier. This is part of the MetaTrader 4 Supreme Edition, by the way, which you can download at admiralmarkets.com. So you can see the uptrend here pretty neatly, if we zoom in a bit, I would expect, price pretty good confluence here with the weekly pivot point, 38.2 fib. That seems to be a pretty sweet zone, 113.50. Of course, if price goes to the 50 fib, then we have the broken resistance that was keeping price basically so long in check and stopping it from breaking to the upside so long. So could that be a strong zone? Yes. If price were to make a hook back to 113, that would definitely be a strong support zone. I think that could be a very good bouncing spot. So whether it's 113.50 or 113, both I think are strong support levels, and I think that price will most likely bounce at those zones for a further upside to 115 and perhaps further. If we look at the 4-hour chart though, or the 1-hour chart, maybe even better, price is kind of making a corrective pattern at this moment. So it doesn't have to necessarily retrace that deeply. Don't get me wrong, it doesn't have to. So that's why I'm not shorting it now. I would look for longs myself at this level and at this level, see if there are any candlestick patterns that can confirm a bounce in that zone. Or I'll be looking for, it's possible that it can just continue right away to 115 and then make a retracement back to 113.50. That's definitely possible. So from that perspective, let me count how many candles have not broken for a higher high. 6. So I think there is a good chance that they will make a sideways zone or the retracement before upside. So either if it bounces, or as I said, there's a potential for a break if it just goes sideways like this. If it does challenge this top, I think that there's a good chance of it going sideways. I would only change that opinion, I guess, if it breaks through 114.50 with a good candle like this. And I would need to see a retracement of that candle, and then maybe there's a bounce to 115. But as you see, if it breaks above 114.50, there's only 50 pips to 115. The space is not that wide then, so there's not much space to play around with once it does break with a good candle. It would have to really go up to 114.70, retrace all the way down to 114.20, and then I guess at this spot there's a little bit more space up to 115. Maybe, yeah, if that could be a sequence that might still make sense if the breakout happens without pulling back first or going sideways first. Well, we'll keep an eye, of course, on this euro-dollar throughout the week. Netted has his session recap. First of all, today, Monday, then tomorrow I have a webinar, and Netted and I have both a webinar on Wednesday looking at the live market. So we'll keep an eye on this. Thursday, we have an educational webinar taking a look at trading psychology and addressing the factor of fear, and we're going to give some practical tips how to combat that. Now we're looking at the pound USD basically, and you can see that price is an uptrend too, strong bullish momentum. So it is at a spot where a retracement could occur, perhaps to a shallow fib, or he did actually to the 23.6, could go down to the 38 and weekly pivot point, could, similar to the euro dollar, and bounce. There's an Admiral Keltner indicator probably going to be there, very close to it, in fact, if it were to make that retracement. And that's also part, by the way, these indicators are also part of the MetaTrader 4 Supreme Edition, by the way. So is it possible that it could make that retracement? Yes, but it doesn't have to. Here, similar basic scenario is that it could break immediately and start making a higher high. Here too, I'll be keeping an eye on 4-hour candles. I would like to see strong 4-hour candles break the resistance. Otherwise, if it doesn't and there's some wick at the top, it could just be a last push up and we might still get the retracement. So that's why monitoring these 4-hour candles is important, whether the breakout, in my view, is sustainable or it's just, let's say, a mini false break for slightly larger correction before still the uptrend continues with this particular bounce. So that's why I'm keeping an eye on 4-hour candles with this 130.30 resistance spot at this moment. All right, so either a bounce or good breakout could be interesting in my view, but definitely bullish, and I think that there's a good chance of that bullishness continuation. The dollar yen is the same, basically, really. Looks pretty bullish too, and I think that here too this could be a continuation. Now, there are two scenarios, yet again, pretty similar, either a pullback and then a bounce, or a continuation immediately. If it basically, if it pulls back deeper, I would maybe even think about putting the fib on the entire swing high rather than just this part. If I do that, all right, you see a 38 fib with a S1, that could be a bouncing spot. And don't get me wrong, price might even retrace all the way to the 61.8. So I'll keep an eye on both these fibs if price breaks through this bottom. And both those levels could be bouncing spots. If it doesn't break this bottom, then I think the 61.8 fib is holding it. And I would keep an eye on the Keltner here, see if there's a good candle close above it. If there is, something like this, for instance, small retracement, and I think that there could be or it doesn't even have to break above it necessarily, but close to it, and something like this could occur up to these fibs like that, and we might see a continuation throughout the week. So yeah, my view definitely bullish at this moment, and I think that there could be some kind of A, B, C, and this is part of that C. And I think there could be a good continuation. If you look at the weekly candle, bullish, monthly candle, bullish, as you see right there. So I think there's a good chance of that continuation this week. And if you look at the weekly chart, you know, it could be easily something like this, for instance. And we head into resistance, and there could be still some downside like that, and price just could go sideways. But for the moment, I think that there is this bullish, within this bullish momentum, there's still some space left until we hit some bigger resistance. So that's what I think that kind of could be used this week for continuation to the upside. More analytics, webinars, articles, you name it, you can find out at admiralmarkets.com. Also the MetaTrader 4 Supreme Edition. Of course, you can find out recordings on the YouTube channel and also analysis on Facebook, by the way, Facebook page from Admiral Markets. And well, that wraps it up for today. Wish you all great trading. Talk to you soon.